In 2003, Mike Tyson filed for bankruptcy, not because he didn't make money. He made an estimated $400 million over his career. One fight alone, against Lennox Lewis in 2002, paid him $103 million. He was one of the highest paid athletes who has ever lived. He also owned 2 pet Bengal tigers that cost $70,000 each, a $2 million gold-plated bathtub, dozens of cars, several of them given away as gifts. By the time it was over, he was $23 million in debt. You probably heard some version of the stat that a huge share of professional athletes go broke within a few years of retiring. The exact number gets exaggerated online, but the pattern behind it is real, and it's not just athletes. Lottery winners, reality TV stars, one-hit wonder musicians, people who suddenly get a lot of money, fast, without ever building a system for it. Now compare that to another modern American family that started with nothing close to old money. When Kris Jenner's husband died in 2003, the same year Tyson went bankrupt, she was a single mother of 6 with a reality TV pitch and not much else. 20 years later, that family runs a business empire spanning cosmetics, shapewear, tequila, and media worth billions, and you know them as the Kardashians family. This is the part people miss. Kris structured the business in a way that each of her kids owns and runs their own individual brand, not just a slice of hers. Same era, same country, same access to fame and opportunity. Wildly different outcomes. The difference wasn't talent, and it wasn't luck. It was habits. The same 5 habits, quietly repeated, that separate money that disappears from money that lasts. Today, I'm going to show you those 5 habits, and if you care about what your money does while you're living and after you're gone, this is one of the most important videos you'll watch this year. Hi, I'm Mark. If this video helps you in any way, then don't forget to like and subscribe, as it genuinely helps this channel grow. Today isn't about hacks or get rich quick. It's about the quiet, unglamorous habits that let some people and families stay wealthy for decades, while others, making the exact same amount of money, lose it all within a few years. So the real question isn't, how do rich people think? It's, what did one family build that the other never did? Let's find out. Tyson's story isn't rare. It's the norm, dressed up in different names each time. Research on wealthy families has found the same pattern for decades. Roughly 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation, and around 90% lose it by the third. Sudden wealth, whether it's a boxing career, a lottery ticket, or a startup exit, follows the same script even faster, often within a handful of years. That means if you or your family have built something real, a business, investments, property, the odds are stacked against it lasting, unless something changes. Not because the money vanishes overnight in one bad decision, but because the habits that create lasting wealth never get built in the first place. So if you're an adult right now, you're probably in one of 3 places: building your first real wealth, and you don't want to be the person who blows it. Already have some money, and you watch how fast it can slip when no one's intentional. Starting from zero, wanting to be the first in your family to set a new pattern. All 3 of you need to hear this. Here's habit number 1. Habit number 1, they treat money like a system, not a score. Tyson had money. What he never had was a system. There was no team managing the whole picture, no rules about spending, no structure protecting the fortune from Tyson himself. Money came in fast, in enormous, irregular bursts, and went out just as fast. Cars, animals, a rotating cast of people on the payroll. Nobody was managing the system. Everybody, including Tyson, was just spending as fast as arrived. Kris Jenner took the opposite approach almost from day one. Before there was a media empire, there were rules, contracts, ownership stakes, and, notably, she said publicly that she takes a standard 10% management cut from each of her children's ventures, run like an actual business relationship, not a blank check. That structure is boring compared to reality TV drama. It's also exactly why the family's wealth didn't evaporate the way so many other famous fortunes have. That's the real distinction. In most households, money is a scorecard. How much did you make this year? In families that keep it, money is a system. Written rules, clear roles, decisions that don't depend on any one person's willpower holding up forever. Here's what that looks like in practice. at any income level. A rule like, we don't pull more than 4% a year from our investment pool, no matter how good the market looks. No one borrows from the family fund without a written plan and sign-off from at least one other person. A one-page note that simply says, this is what our money is for, this is what it's not for. Most families never write any of this down. They just hope everyone figures it out. Then they're shocked when everyone figures it out differently. You don't need a media empire to start this. You need written personal rules. I don't touch my investment account for daily spending. I don't co-sign loans for anyone, even family. A simple structure, not a fancy one. A spreadsheet and clarity on where every dollar goes is enough. The goal is to control every dollar. It's to build a system solid enough that your future self can't quietly break on a bad day. Habit number 2, they teach money like a subject, not a secret. This is where most families fail, quietly over years, without ever noticing. In most households, kids are fragments. Don't tell anyone how much we make. We can't afford that. Nobody actually sits down and teaches them how money works. So when those kids become adults, they're expected to file taxes, evaluate a signing bonus, and decide on a mortgage with zero training. Athletes face a brutal version of this. Most turn pro in their late teens or early 20s, suddenly earning more in a single paycheck than most people see in a decade, with no financial education built into that transition. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's a total absence of preparation for the specific problem of sudden, large money. The Kardashian Jenner kids, whatever else you think of the family, were raised inside the business from a young age, negotiating their own deals, understanding their own contracts, building brands that were legally and financially separate from their mothers. That's a form of financial education most families never think to give their kids, wealthy or not. In families that keep their wealth, financial literacy is deliberate, taught the way you teach math, not delivered once in a dramatic sit-down talk. Age 8 to 10, income, saving, spending, giving. Age 12 to 14, banking, budgeting, how credit and interest actually work. Age 16 to 18, taxes, investing basics, risk versus reward. Age 18 to 25, retirement accounts, asset allocation, what fees quietly due to a portfolio over 30 years. If your family never taught you this, good. That means you get to be the first. Pick one topic a month, Roth IRA, index funds, credit scores, taxes, and actually study it. If you have kids, nieces, or nephews, show them a real bill. Walk them through it. Let them see the boring parts. If you're in a relationship, make money a normal conversation, not a fight topic. Habit number 3, they build guardrails, not just goals. Goals without guardrails are just wishes with a deadline. This is where emotion quietly destroys wealth. And it's arguably the single biggest thing separating a Tyson-style flameout from a Jenner-style empire. Smart, talented people make emotional decisions with money constantly. When you're suddenly rich, ego and generosity both take over fast. Buy the car everyone's watching you buy. Fund a friend's idea. Keep the whole crew on payroll. Nothing was stopping any of that for Tyson. There was no rule, no cooling off period, no second signature required. Families and individuals who keep their wealth build guardrails specifically to survive their own impulses. No single investment can be more than 10% of our portfolio, so one bad bet can't take down the whole system. We don't make financial decisions within 48 hours of hearing about an opportunity. Killing impulse moves driven by hype or pressure. We don't pull from long-term investments to fund lifestyle upgrades. You can build the same thing at any income level. I don't carry credit card balances. I keep 6 months of expenses in cash, no matter what. I don't invest in anything I can't explain in 2 minutes. I don't make big financial decisions when I'm emotional or stressed. Write down 3 rules you will not break. Put them somewhere you'll actually see them. When you're tempted, don't negotiate with yourself. Just follow the rule. The goal is to make your future self less powerful than your system. Habit number 4, they measure success in decades, not quarters. Most people measure success by this year's bonus, this year's return, this year's headline. That's not wrong. It's just too short a window to build anything that lasts. An athlete's career is, on average, only a handful of years long. The entire fortune has to be made and managed inside a window most people would consider the early stage of a normal career. That short horizon pushes towards short-term thinking. Spend now, because who knows what next year looks like. The businesses built around Kris Jenner's family took the opposite bet, treating reality TV fame as a starting asset, not the whole plan, and building brands, product companies, and equity stakes designed to outlast any single season of a TV show or news cycle. That shift in time horizon changes everything. You care less about keeping up with everyone around you, more about not breaking your system. You're willing to look boring, index funds, diversified assets, long-term holdings, because boring is durable. You don't panic at every headline, because you've built a plan that assumes volatility instead of avoiding it. When income goes up, a portion moves to savings and investing automatically before lifestyle expands to meet it. If you're young, you have something even $1 billion empire can't buy back: time. Every decade you start earlier is worth more than doubling your contributions later. Starting seriously at 25 instead of 35 doesn't just add 10 years of contributions. It gives compounding 10 extra years to do its heaviest lifting. Ask for every major decision. If I keep doing this for 20 years, where does it put me? Lasting wealth isn't built in one amazing year. It's a lot of decent years, strung together, without a self-inflicted wound in the middle. Habit number 5. They define wealth as more than money. This is a habit most people miss completely, and it's the real, final answer to what separated these two outcomes. Tyson has been open about this himself. In a 2010 interview, he described being completely broke despite having earned hundreds of millions of dollars. The money came and went. What was missing wasn't intelligence or talent. By every account, both are undeniable. What was missing was everything money is supposed to be built on top of: a plan, a team, and skills for managing wealth that nobody ever handed him. Families and people who keep their wealth define it as 4 things, not one. 1. Financial capital, money, investments, property. 2. Human capital, skills, education, health, discipline. 3. Social capital, relationships, networks, trust. 4. Purpose capital, a shared reason the money exists at all. Give someone a fortune with none of the other 3 in place, and it rarely survives contact with real life. That's not a moral judgment about the person. It's just what happens, over and over, in stories that make headlines specifically because they're common enough to be recognizable. You can build this now, regardless of your net worth. Write down what wealth means to you, beyond a number. I want to be healthy enough to enjoy it. I want skills that make me valuable anywhere. Make at least one decision a quarter that invests in a non-financial form of capital: a course, a health check, a hard conversation, a boundary with someone who drains you. Money without purpose gets spent. Money without skills gets mismanaged. Money without relationships gets fought over. People who keep their wealth protect the whole ecosystem, not just the number sitting inside it. So the question here is, what's the real secret here? 2 people, 2 families, same era, same country, same shot at fame and money. One is a cautionary tale people still bring up 2 decades later. The other built an empire that's still growing. The difference was never the money. It was a system instead of a scorecard, education instead of secrecy, guardrails instead of just goals, decades instead of quarters, a definition of wealth bigger than a number. None of that is glamorous. There's no secret stock, no hidden loophole. Just habits, boring, repeatable, and apparently rare enough that most people who suddenly come into money never build them. If you're between 18 to 50, you're in the exact position to be the one who does. And if you take one thing from this video, take this: the people who stay wealthy don't have better secrets. They have better habits. And that's something you can start building today, no matter where you're starting from. If this video changed how you think about wealth, do subscribe our channel right now and give this video a thumbs up.